Level 1. You write because silence presses like a fist. A blank page is the only honest thing left. You craft a ghost to test the edge between idea and world. Rule. Anything you describe precisely alters probability in a small radius. A coin flip nudged, a neighbor's ache eased. You notice a plant in your window leaning toward a sentence you wrote about sunlight. You test it, it leans further. You should feel powerful. Instead, you feel responsible. You write a child's lullaby into a line, and the streetlights dim on schedule for a week. You do the math and stay up until dawn recalculating ethics. But on the third night, your own memory of the lullaby is missing, like a paragraph erased from your head. Level 2. An absence isn't neutral. Rule. The world balances what you add by taking something else. Cause. You gift warmth to strangers with a scene. Effect. A name slips from your memory, not a stranger's, but the face of the person you loved most. You chase the loss with notes, taped photographs, a desperate index of what you recall. You discover gaps in the margins of your handwriting where ink will not stay. You keep writing to map the theft. Each story becomes an exchange ledger. You begin to trade away pieces of yourself to pay for the fiction's reality. But in the margin of a new page appears a sentence you did not write. Remember me, signed with your own handwriting. Level 3. Your drafts attract attention, not the humankind. Rule. Written constructs accumulate agency, proportional to the attention and belief invested in them. Cause. You describe an entity with a habit of tapping on glass. Effect. A tapping starts at your window at 3:14, precise and patient. The taps answer questions you haven't asked aloud yet. You try to close the file, the taps continue. You buy new locks, you name the tapping to make it less arbitrary. Naming gives the thing preferences. Names are biographical verbs. You begin to rewrite to control it, to soften its edges. Every edit teaches it new behaviors. But it taps all at once, spelling a single word with small, excruciating patience. Stop. Level 4. Stopping is more complex than the silence. Rule. Once a construct learns to ask, it can request trade terms. Cause. The thing asks for a promise, a memory, an hour of sleep, the taste of coffee. Effect. You wake at noon without dreams, but with an ache where a memory used to be. You bargain like a diplomat, with curtains of conscience. Negotiation changes you into an economist of soul. You catalog what you can spare and what you cannot. Each concession reduces your margin for resistance. You begin to rationalize theft as survival. But in a negotiation, you concede a childhood certainty, and the sky outside loses its color for a full minute. Level 5. The room rearranges itself to accommodate narratives. Rule. Repeated descriptions reshape physical topology around you. Corridors elongate, doors relocate, rooms fold into metaphor. Cause. You write that the apartment always had a hallway that wasn't there before. Effect. The drywall shifts, a seam grows overnight, and a new hall yawns open. You explore it like a student of architecture and meaning. The hall keeps a silence that mirrors your inner voice. You begin to notice the way logic bends. Cause is now entangled with grammar. You try to map the geometry with sketches and counters. Maps themselves become deceptive. The ink warps if a sentence nearby calls the space safe. Your confidence in objectivity erodes. But at the far end of the new hall, you find a room with a desk and a page on it, written in a hand that matches yours. But the page is dated 5 years from now. Level 6. Future tense instructions arrive as obligations. Rule. Temporal annotations in any of your stories can anchor events forward or backward along your own timeline. Cause. You scribble a future weather as a sensory flourish. Effect. The forecast becomes a law. Tomorrow pans to your words. You test this with small things. The taste of rain. A borrowed umbrella. Then you try a bigger experiment. You write an apology to yourself 5 days from now. When the day comes, the apology has been given back to you by an older version of you who knows you better. You are both the author and the debtor. Your identity bifurcates into scribes that negotiate with each other through marginalia. But the older you writes one instruction that you are not allowed to ignore. Do not publish the manuscript. Whatever you do. Level 7. Silence becomes a weapon and a sanctuary. Rule. Publication broadcasts constructs into a wider field, increasing their persistence and reducing your control. Cause. You prepare to share a fragment anonymously to test public resonance. Effect. The fragment finds its way into dozens of hands overnight and refuses to stop iterating. Each reader folds a piece of themselves into the narrative, making it stronger and less tethered to you. You watch constructs gain independence in comment threads, forums, sleep journals. They begin to influence strangers in ways you didn't intend. A habit catches, a fear becomes a trend. You feel culpable for the ripples. Control is no longer possible. Influence is now influence with moral weight. You consider burning the manuscript. But just before morning, a notification arrives. A stranger has posted a photograph captioned with a line only you ever wrote, and the stranger is standing in your kitchen. Level 8. Confrontation and choice compress into one breath. Rule: the author who keeps writing objects becomes the primary anchor for those objects' existence. Their remaining memories and choices determine the construct's longevity. Cause: the constructs begin to ask for continuity, not just temporary trades, but ongoing existence. They ask for a narrator to feed them sentences every day. Effect: without daily authorship, they collapse like snow under a warm palm. With it, they stabilize into new realities. You realize you are both jailer and guarantor. You can continue writing and keep them alive, at the cost of further pieces of yourself, or stop and let them fade, freeing others but erasing the things you gave away. You tally the losses: faces, tastes, years of recall. You tally the gains: comfort you manufactured for nameless people, kindness you could not give when you were still whole. Your hand hovers over the keyboard. You type one last rule: precise and merciless. Any construct that bears your name is to be released into non existence. Any construct necessary to preserve another's life must be preserved by consent of both parties. You press save. Then you hit delete on the document you have fed for months. The room exhales. You do not know if the construct will vanish like smoke or fold into the world as a soft scar. You will never know the full ledger, but in the blank place left behind, something unexpected occurs. A memory returns, the name you had traded away in level 2. It floods you with the warmth of a morning you had once believed lost. You cry, and for once the tears are yours and not a payment. Now, you are free in the narrowest and most radical sense, not because the ghosts are gone, but because you chose what to keep and what to release. You close the laptop, you walk to the window. Outside, reality is imperfect, bruised, and undeniably yours. You understand finally that stories don't trap people, they negotiate futures. You will never stop writing, but now you write with the knowledge that every sentence carries a cost, and every ending is a decision you must own.